It's Friday, December 27th, 2024. Merry third day of Christmas. Happy third day of Hanukkah. Joyous second day of Kwanzaa. Welcome to episode 134, the final episode of 2024 of the Alameda Postcast, an audio service of the Alameda Post. I'm your host, Scott Peeler. In this edition of the Postcast, a successful emergency landing at Alameda Point. The final charges are dropped in the Mario Gonzalez case. Cleanup from the last storm as more wet weather heads our way. Good works from Encinal High and the folks at Lucky 13. New laws to affect parking and workplace meetings. A look back at the year gone by, and events to kick off 2025 in style. These stories and more on this episode of the Alameda Postcast. Our top story. On Friday, December 20th, an old Naval Air Station runway at Alameda Point was unexpectedly pressed back into service. At around 10:26 a.m., Alameda Fire Department responded to a report of a Cessna C-152 making an emergency landing due to engine trouble. Because of the potential for a crash, AFD responded with 17 personnel as well as their fireboat. The Coast Guard also provided helicopter support. There were no injuries and no hazardous materials incidents as the single-engine two-seater touched down safely. The FAA is investigating why the Palo Alto-bound craft was forced into the unorthodox landing area. For a look at the Cessna after touchdown, head to alamedapost.com/news. Also on Friday, prosecutors from the Alameda County District Attorney's Office Public Accountability Unit dismissed the involuntary manslaughter charge against Eric McKinley, the remaining City of Alameda police officer involved in the 2021 death of Mario Gonzalez. The PAU cited inconsistent statements made under penalty of perjury by a key forensic pathology expert, Dr. Bennett Amalu. Prosecutors said that while Amalu did not change his ultimate opinion on the cause of death as restraint asphyxiation, he filed a motion to quash a subpoena compelling him to appear in court to testify in the criminal case, and in it, he wrote and signed a declaration under penalty of perjury that was inconsistent with his sworn deposition in the civil case. This led the DA's office to conclude they could not meet their burden of proving Officer McKinley committed involuntary manslaughter beyond a reasonable doubt. Earlier charges were dropped in October against the other two officers in the case due to a missed filing deadline. That dismissal drew a sharp rebuke from Judge Scott Patton, who categorized the Alameda County DA's office case as rushed and careless. Details on this latest development at alamedapost.com/news. Last week, we discussed the damage from the combination of the recent storms and king tide. This past week, the cleanup continued in earnest, notably at Seaplane Lagoon. Leaf blowers, a front loader, street sweeper, and storm drain hydrovacs were utilized to help clean up the styrofoam-laden debris from the area. All told, the area near the ferry terminal produced 18.25 cubic yards of debris. To put that into perspective, a standard bag of mulch is 2 cubic feet, and there are 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard. So, Public Works removed the equivalent of 246 bags of debris. That's about 3.75 pallets worth of material. And that's in addition to the work done on other areas like Main Street and Shoreline. Richard Bangert provides photos, video, and commentary at alamedapost.com/news. If you don't frequent the shoreline or tend just to drive by, you might not be aware of just how much damage was done by this, shall we say, perfect storm. From Crown Beach to Crab Cove, huge sections of man-made beaches and dunes were simply eliminated. Waves washed away tons of sand and dislodged heavy boulders and bags of concrete from retaining walls. The storm damage left critical utility structures located at the corner of Shoreline and Westline near the kiteboard shack at risk of collapsing. The structures house an electric water pump system that governs the interchange of bay waters to the innerland lagoons. New riprap or rock armor is currently being added along the entire corner at Shoreline and Westline in an attempt to stabilize the slope in order to protect the pump apparatus from potential failure if more land is washed away. The shoreline at Alameda Point and Harbor Bay Business Park also suffered major damage, and the Bay Trail near the Harbor Bay Ferry Terminal is closed after large chunks of that trail broke away. East Bay Regional Park District now finds itself working to repair the damage and reinforce areas to avoid a repeat of this scenario in the future. Irene Dieter has provided some illuminating photography illustrating the extent of the damage, plus video and a look at the restoration efforts. Find her photo essay at alamedapost.com/news. What does a group of high school students and a corner bar have in common? Both Encinal High and Lucky 13 were shining examples of the Christmas spirit this season. KJTZ Student Radio collaborated with Kevin Gorham's leadership students, Diana Henneman's Digital Film 2 class, and Mitchell Wagner's Orchestra and Strings Ensemble to create a festive atmosphere for the senior residents at St. Paul's Towers near Lake Merritt in Oakland. The students led various activities, including decorating gingerbread houses and cookies, creating ornaments, and making holiday cards accompanied by music from the orchestra. The event was met with enthusiasm by the residents, and teacher Kevin Gorman says he hopes to make this an annual event. Here's hoping that comes to fruition. When our youth spend time with our seniors, everyone benefits. For pictures and video of the happy time, see Diana Henneman's article at alamedapost.com/features.
In an old city bar that's never too far from the places that gather the dreams that have...
In the Trans-Siberian Orchestra song Old City Bar, a Christmas miracle occurs at a local drinking establishment. That spirit was in full swing at Lucky 13 on Christmas Day as they hosted a Christmas potluck for one and all, complete with tamales and even some fresh eggs for those who were in need and had trouble finding any. I wasn't there myself, but watching the planning and reaction on social media really added a little extra warmth to Christmas Day. So kudos to the folks at Lucky 13. I'm sure the ghost of Christmas present was smiling from his seat in the corner. This is also the season of Hanukkah. You can celebrate thanks to a pair of public menorah lightings coming up. Sunday from 3:30 to 5, Shabbat of Alameda's Community Hanukkah celebration at Washington Park, complete with a giant 7-foot Lego menorah, a fire show, make your own dreidel, and more. Details at alamedapost.com/features. On Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., Temple Israel's menorah lighting at South Shore Center with klezmer music, nosh, crafts, and more. Before we look back, a look ahead at changes headed our way in the new year. As always, new laws take effect as the calendar changes to January. Let's focus on two. A major change is coming to parking regulations. Starting January 1st, all California drivers will be prohibited from parking or stopping their vehicles within 20 feet of marked or unmarked crosswalks. The legislation, Assembly Bill 413, aims to improve visibility for drivers and pedestrians by creating a so-called daylighting zone near intersections. You might ask, what's an unmarked crosswalk? Essentially, any intersection where two roads meet at a right angle is considered a crosswalk, whether it's striped or not. Enforcement begins with a 60-day grace period from January 1st to March 1st. After that, violations will result in a $65 fine plus a state-mandated surcharge of $12.50, bringing it to $77.50. Penalty is higher than typical parking tickets, but less severe than other red curb violations. You can find a look at that new regulation and other efforts for traffic safety at alamedapost.com/news. Another law taking effect in 2025, Senate Bill 399, which prevents California employers from requiring workers to attend any meetings related to their political or religious views or how their bosses feel about unions. The law bans mandatory workplace meetings in which the employer discusses their opinion about religious or political matters, the latter of which is defined to include the decision on whether or not to join a union. Workers cannot be disciplined for refusing to attend such a meeting under SB 399. The new law's proponents, including the California Labor Federation, say such meetings can intimidate workers out of exercising their right to unionize. Business groups such as the California Chamber of Commerce oppose the new law, arguing it would infringe on employers' right to free speech and ability to discuss the effects of laws or regulations on their industry. The new law includes exceptions for employees such as those working for political parties whose job includes talking about politics. In November, the National Labor Relations Board ruled in a case involving Amazon that captive audience meetings violate the federal law guaranteeing the right to unionize, but many labor experts expect the decision to be overturned once President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Other new labor laws include AB 2123, which prevents employers from forcing the use of vacation time before taking paid family leave, and AB 2499, which allows workers to use sick time to perform jury duty. 2024, yet another eventful year. Kelsey Gores has a rundown of some of the biggest stories we covered. Look for her year-end roundup at alamedapost.com/news. As far as the Postcast is concerned, thank you for keeping us in the top 25% of all podcasts hosted on the Buzzsprout platform. Our most popular episode this past year, episode 107 on June 14th. Lead story, the proposed end of surgery at Alameda Hospital. Thanks for spreading the word and for making the Postcast part of your routine. Head to alamedapost.com/features to help plan your New Year's celebrations. Amanda Laird has rounded up celebrations for all ages in her weekly All-Around Alameda column. More events at 94501.info. Don't forget Farmers Market is open Saturday, but will be closed on Tuesday. Thank you to all who have donated to our end-of-year fundraising drive. Still time to get that donation in. Visit omella.com/AlamedaPost to give. That's omella.com/AlamedaPost. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, MSN, YouTube, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky, as well as our very own subreddit. You can subscribe to our channel on Apple News, and you can look for us on Nextdoor. Find the Postcast wherever you get your podcast, or simply tell your smart device to play the Alameda Postcast podcast. I'm Scott Peeler. I'll be back next year. next Friday with episode 135 of the Alameda Postcast. Happy New Year.